Sony's Holy Trinity. We're talking about these three lenses today. Sony's version of the Holy Trinity, the 16-35 G Master, the 24-70 G Master, and the 70-200 G Master. With these three lenses, you could shoot just about any type of photography you could think of. First, I'm James Lavish, welcome. I do photography tips and tricks, gear insights, and reviews, so if that sounds good to you, hit the subscribe button. It'd be super appreciated. So you've got your new Sony full frame camera. Maybe it was a gift, maybe you just bought it, but you're trying to figure out what lenses you should buy to go with it. Should I get a zoom lens, wide angle, or maybe should I get primes? And a lot of that depends on what type of photography you're shooting, whether it's portraits or weddings or events or sports or landscapes. But I can assure you, you can find your answer in these three lenses, which is what makes them so special and why they're so revered, and they're called the Holy Trinity. I mean, you can go from 16 millimeters all the way up to 200, and that's without any extenders or digital zooms. Some of you may have already looked into this and you know that this set is pretty expensive, and that's true, but there is a cheaper alternative, and we'll talk about that at the end. You'll know whether you should buy this whole set, part of the set, or whether none of these are right for you. I've been a Sony shooter for years. I've shot with just about every single lens that they offer, and I personally started with these three lenses as my first set. You can check out my work at James Lavish on Instagram or on my website, jameslavish.com, and I'll link them both below. Now, why the Holy Trinity, you ask? Well, there's a good reason that these three lenses have that nickname. They cover from 16 millimeters all the way out to 200. That's 185 millimeters of possibility. First, the 16-35 millimeter. This little guy covers landscapes, cityscapes, aerials, architecture, real estate, interiors, environmental portraits, and even astrophotography. 16-35 millimeters. It's also the preferred Sony lens for vloggers, and it's actually the one that I use when I do the talking head videos. The 2.8 aperture is great for low light photos or video, and it's also what allows you to use this lens to take Milky Way shots. The 24-70 is great for events, weddings, product, commercial work, and I personally use this for about 80-90% of my fashion photography. I love how I could use this to take those crazy wide angles of the tall models and then zoom in to about 50 millimeters for a straight fashion shot, and then all the way into 70 millimeters for that beautiful bokeh portrait. This lens is absolutely my favorite. And what about you? Drop a comment below and tell me what you're shooting and what lenses you guys are using. Okay, the last of the trio is a 70-200 millimeter G Master. This is a beast of a lens. It gives beautiful portraits from the 70-90 millimeter range, beautiful bokeh and background blur, and it covers you for just about any sport. It's also great for wildlife shots where you need to zoom with the glass and not your feet. And though it's big, I've gotten a lot of use out of this lens, especially for those beauty portraits and for the sports shots. I love this lens. Okay, now the bad news. These lenses are expensive. The 16-35 millimeter 2.8 G Master, let's check, shall we? That'll run you $2,200 brand new. The 24-70 millimeter 2.8 G Master, that'll run you another $2,200. And the 70-200 2.8 G Master will run you $2,600. Hold on a second. Holy shit! Here's the good news. For those of you who have not bought these lenses yet, there is a cheaper package. Every single one of these lenses comes in an f4 version. You've got a Zeiss 16-35 f4, a Zeiss 24-70 f4, and a Sony 70-200 millimeter f4. And all in, that set will cost about half of what this costs. That said, there are some drawbacks. With the 16-35 millimeter, if you go with the f4 version, you just won't be able to shoot the Milky Way like you can with the 2.8. The problem is there's just not enough light to get into the sensor, and so the stars will move and they'll blur before you get that really cool Milky Way shot. With the f4 version of the 24-70 millimeter, you're gonna struggle in some low light conditions. So unless you have your own lighting, it could be a hindrance if you're a wedding or an event photographer. And with the 70-200 millimeter, there's a few problems. First of all, if you're shooting in low lighting conditions like early in the morning or late at night doing wildlife photos, you're gonna struggle to get enough light into the sensor, and you might have to push up your ISO, which will in turn introduce some noise into your photos. Also, if you're doing sports photography and you're in a high school stadium and the lighting isn't that good, usually isn't, you'll find yourself struggling to get enough light into the sensor, and again, you'll have to push up your ISO, and that'll introduce some noise in your images. So if you want to take some sports shots that you want to blow up on the wall, you may want to think about that as well. So all that said, if you already know what type of photography you're into, you may just want to buy one of these lenses and then build out as you go. It's exactly what I did. Okay, so the only type of photography that's not covered with these 3 lenses is macro photography. And so if you need detailed shots for weddings, or if you're a product photographer, or you're just a specialized macro photographer, then you're gonna need a macro lens. And the good news is I just did a video reviewing the Sony 90mm G Macro lens, so you can check that out, I'll link it below. Okay, that's it. 2 great sets that get you just about everything you need with 3 lenses. Let me know what you're thinking now that you've seen this, and whether you're gonna buy any of these or any of the F4 versions. I'd really like to know. Also, I'm thinking about doing a similar video that pairs up prime lenses according to what type of photography that you do. Let me know if that sounds good to you. Drop a comment below. If you like this video, please hit that like button below, as it really does help. Maybe share it with your fellow photography friends, and if you subscribe, it would be super appreciated. And I'll see you in the next video.